All right, everyone, it's time to talk about Germany reawakening. Deutschland erwacht. Yes, indeed. See, Heil, I guess. Link in the description, archived, of course. I don't know that the world wants this to be a thing. I'm pretty sure that other Europeans at the moment are slightly nervous. Germany has just decided to spend extra billions of dollars on defense spending. Now, on the one hand, this is good because as part of NATO, they're going to meet their quota, so to speak, and that's good. That's what Trump's been pushing for, by the way. And that is great. You know, you have more tanks, you have more planes, you have more munitions, artillery pieces, field guns in, and so on and so forth, and better training and more troops. That's a good thing. It strengthens NATO. If you happen to be pro-NATO, as I generally am. It has problems, it needs reform, but in general, the principle of NATO I support. But Germany awakening, is this something that we really want? Because the last time it happened, we had World War II. It's saying Deutschland erwacht is a loaded term for a reason. When Germany begins, especially Germany, begins rearming and making more battle cruisers and more tanks and things like that. What has happened the last couple of times that that occurred? Was it a good time or was it a bad time? I think if you know anything about world history, you probably know the answer. The answer is it's not necessarily the best thing that could happen. I believe in NATO. I believe we should maintain our alliance. And I believe that European countries should be forced to pay their fair share. They agreed to it to begin with. There was an understanding. The understanding was effectively ignored for 50 years, and that's part of the problem. The United States carried the bulk of the weight of the entire alliance, still does, by the way, and all of the other countries basically just sat on their laurels and said, well, we're a great nation. We don't need to be greatest or anything like that. No more imperialism, no more expansionism, no more militarism. We're just sort of going to sit here on the wealth that we've already created and just sort of exist. That's the problem with Europeans, generally speaking. And I don't say this as a pejorative. I've been in Europe. I lived in the Netherlands for half a decade. I love Europe. I didn't really like Germany as much. I think that the Dutch are much nicer people. For instance, when you go down the street in the Netherlands, little old lady comes along, it's understood, you move to the side. She gets to pass. If she needs any assistance, you give it. In Germany, it's more like they shove you to the fucking ground. It's a little bit different from the Netherlands. Anyway, I digress. With regards to Germany rearming, the problem is that Germany appears to want to effectively rule Europe without a shot fired. And this is something that should worry other Europeans. The Germans still want to run the show. It's just the way that they're raised. They're raised in the executive capacity. It's part of the culture. There's nothing wrong with it, per se. And some Germans are very, very intelligent. There's a reason there was Operation Paperclip and so forth. That's true. And I don't mean any insult to my German clankers. That being said, do I really want the German government running the entire EU? That seems like a bad idea. It might become a little bit more brutalistic. You might want to give it to the French or to the Dutch instead. The Dutch will make you more money, the French will make you more art and wine, and the Germans will turn you all into soldiers and you'll be facing off against the Russians at some point. That seems like a bad idea. That seems like a recipe for World War II. Now, let's say that the EU, for example, leaves NATO entirely. Germany manages to supersede through its international proceedings and effectively take over most of the continent. That's fine. You've got nukes. Well, France has them. I assume they've become a state of some sort. That's great. Wonderful. Are you going to be able to fend off a full-on invasion? with the kind of manpower that you're facing, absent the United States support. No, you will not. You will lose. We'll end up with another Cold War scenario where you have like you literally have a wall between the parts of Europe that have been conquered and the parts of Europe that managed to maintain their own. You'll end up with that again. We'll be right back in 1960 or something like that. The United States, meanwhile, will be fine. With the UK leaving the EU and being more partnered with the Western Ho sort of thing, we've got the Commonwealth diaspora, most of South America and Central America on board, and parts of East Asia. We will be fine. Europe will not be fine. I like how some people who are so gung-ho for European nationalism don't understand this. Europe would not be fine in such an arrangement. They could get attacked. We might not be able to defend them. We might not have the latitude to do so. There's a reason why the United States is trying to reassert hegemony over the Panama Canal and things like that. There's a reason for that. Europe has grown decadent. And when Germany begins rearming, and much of the rest of Europe is not, other than, I guess, the Polish and the Hungarians, which the former administration decided to openly insult stupidly. Um, when Germany is rearming to the tune of billions and billions of dollars, and Europe is at a time when most of these countries don't really have much of an active military, that might be a little bit threatening to people now, isn't it? It might be a little bit alarming. Just saying, little bit odd. The times have changed, says Bob Dylan. Definitely. That's about all. Peace out.